Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. I am Vaishali Khan and we are discussing the optical communication. Today in this video, we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is the Gaussian approximation. So now we have already talked about the propagation constant, that is the beta. We have already talked about the spot size. Okay, so that is omega naught. If you have still not watched all of the previous videos on the optical communication, it is highly recommended that you go back, watch the previous videos and then come to this video, because here we are coming to the end of the cylindrical optical fiber and here we are discussing the Gaussian approximation, which is related to the previous topics as well. We should understand what is beta, we should understand what is spot size, and then only we can understand the Gaussian approximation. We should understand what kind of field pattern we have inside the cladding, inside the core. So I am considering you all know all of these basic things and then only you are moving towards watching this video. So now let's understand this topic from the exam point of view. If it is your theory exam, you can remember this question as a short note question kind of question, and we can remember some of the equations, and this is how you can proceed with this topic, right? So let's start with the Gaussian approximation. Now whenever I have the field inside the core and inside the cladding, we know what kind of distribution the field is going to have inside the core. Inside the core, it is going to follow the Bessel function. We know that. Inside the cladding, it is going to follow the modified Bessel function, right? So both of them have to be matched. Now if I draw the field for different propagation mode, so now here if I am considering the fundamental mode only, that is the LP01 mode only, so now for the different normalized frequencies I will be having the field which is present inside the core, the field which is present the cladding. So this is my core and here we will be having the cladding. Now you can see in the core we are having the Bessel function kind of structure for the field, and here we will be having the extended Bessel function kind of structure. So now for V is equal to 2.4, V is the normalized frequency, that is 2.4, and here V number is 1.5. For both of them you can see the distribution of the field is approximated to the Gaussian distribution. We can remember this distribution as a bell type of curve, which is a Gaussian curve, right? So the approximation of field is done by the Gaussian function. If I combine the Bessel function and the extended Bessel function, I will be getting the Gaussian function, right? So this is the case when I'm talking about the very idealistic condition, but whenever I have the practical condition, I will be having various losses, various distortions which are present, and the crosstalk will also be present in the optical fiber. Then this Gaussian function would not be approximated as the field pattern, right? So in that scenario I cannot use the Gaussian function, I cannot approximate the field to the Gaussian function. But when I am talking about the ideal scenario, I can talk about the Gaussian function as the approximation. So the field shape of the fundamental mode for the normalized frequency 1.5 and the 2.4 is shown in this figure, and the figure can see that both of them are represented as the Gaussian function. So Bessel function is represented in the core region and it is matched, right? So you have to understand that whenever we have the field in the cladding, it should be matched to the field of the core, and then only it will be forming a bell type of structure. So now here let's see this type of scenario. Here you can see here we will be having some field in the core, and let's suppose this was the field in my cladding. Now if these two are not matched, I cannot approximate it to the Gaussian function, and this is the thing that is happening in the actual scenario. Ideally this will be happening, the field in the core and the cladding are matched, but practically this will be happening, right? So now Bessel function in the core region is matched to the modified Bessel function in the cladding region. Now we have the energy or the power that is propagated in the cladding, it is denoted by the V number. So you can see over here we have the V number 1.5, we have the V number 2.4. So at the V number 2.4 I will be having lesser energy in the cladding. You can see in the Green, we have the lesser area in the cladding, so we will be having lesser energy in the cladding, but when V was 1.5, I will be having more energy in the cladding, right? So you can see this. Now if I want to find out the energy present in the cladding or the power present in the cladding, I have to see the V number. Even if I am talking about the cutoff frequency or the cutoff wavelength, then also the power in the core would be around 80% only. So you can see from here that I have to understand what is the V number, what is the frequency on which I am operating, and then only I can find out that how much power is there inside the cladding, right? To find out exact power in the cladding, I need to know the V number. Second, I need to know the operational frequency. So even if I am having the cutoff frequency at which I am operating, then the power at the core would be around 80% only, and the 20% power would be there inside the cladding at that point also. So now the scalar wave equation is given by del square psi plus n square k square psi is equal to 0. Now here I have this to be my scalar wave equation, and now I am considering a lot of Maxwell's equations also inside this. So now when I am considering del to be very much less than 1, what is del? Now del is my relative refractive index when my relative refractive index is very much less than 1 and when I am considering only the transverse component, right? So when I am considering that my electric field is present only in the EY direction and the electric field in the EX and the electric field in the EZ direction would be negligible. So now when I am considering these two conditions, that del is very less than 1 and I am considering the transverse component, so now the transfer component is represented by phi, and this scalar wave equation can be represented as del square phi plus n square k square phi is equal to 0. Now when I solve this equation, I will be getting the phi as 2 upon pi 1 upon 2. So it is under root 2 upon pi into 1 upon omega naught. What is omega naught? Omega naught is the spot size. So now here 2 upon pi 1 by 2 1 upon omega naught is the normalized factor. So it is the normalization factor that we have. We can even reduce it. So if I have to see the wave equation, I can just see this factor and this factor because my wave is traveling in the z direction. So we will be having this exponential minus j beta z. So it is telling me that wave is propagating in the z direction. So now here we have this parameter, the exponential minus r square upon omega naught square. We know what is omega naught here. What is r square? R square is x square plus y square, which is the radius parameter. Omega naught, we know it is the spot size. So now here we can solve this equation. This is just the normalization factor. We can ignore it. We can solve this equation, and now we can find out the beta with the help of the Gaussian approximation. Now with the help of wave equation, with the help of the Gaussian approximation, we can find out the value of beta, and beta is the propagation constant in the guided mode. So beta square would be given as 4k square upon omega naught square. What is k? K is the propagation constant in the vacuum. So here we will be having integration from 0 to infinity r n square r. So this is the refractive index, right? And here we will be having the exponential minus 2r square upon omega naught square dr minus 2 upon omega naught square. So now here if I want to find out omega naught with the help of the Gaussian approximation, we have find out the omega naught, it would be a. Now a was the core radius multiplied with 0.65 plus 0.434 lambda upon lambda c. Now lambda c is the cutoff wavelength, power 3 by 2 plus 0.0149 lambda upon lambda 6. lambda c raised to power 6. So now when I am considering alpha is equal to 2, when I am considering the graded index fiber, right? So now whenever I was having the step index fiber and when I was considering the single mode, the losses were less, the dispersion losses were less, and now we were not having different modes, we were having only one mode, so the analysis was easier. Now when I am considering the practical situation, in the practical, what we are using more? We are using the graded index fiber more, right? So in the graded index fiber also we are using the alpha is equal to 2. The profile parameter would be equal to 2 and omega naught square would be equal to, now I have find out the omega naught square when I am considering the graded index fiber and I have taken alpha is equal to 2. Now the omega naught square would be given as a upon n1 k 2 upon delta 1 upon 2. Delta is the relative refractive index. Beta square would be given as n1 square k square 1 minus 2 under root 2 delta upon n1 ka. I hope you know all of the parameters that I have used here. Now n1 represents the refractive index of the core, k I hope you know, it is the propagation constant of the vacuum, a is the core radius, delta is the relative refractive index, k I have already told you. So I hope you understood how we can find out the Gaussian approximation for the propagation constant, that is beta, and for the spot size. So all of these things can be related with the help of the Gaussian approximation of the field that I have considered, and I have considered only the fundamental mode in the first scenario, and in the second scenario I have considered the multi-mode scenario as well, and I have not considered any loss. And now here when I have considered alpha is equal to 2, the profile parameter was 2, I can approximate with the help of the Gaussian approximation what would be my beta, what would be my spot size. So I hope you understood the Gaussian approximation. If you have still any doubt, you can watch the previous video also, because I have related much of the previous videos with this concept, and if you have still doubt, you can put the doubt in the comment and I will be trying to resolve your doubt as soon as possible. We are going to talk about the equivalent step index methods in the next video. I hope you will be joining me soon in the next video. I hope you like this session. If you like it, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also do share it with your friends. Thank you so much.